G'day guys, welcome to my RXY's feature video. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about NRL preseason trials for week 3 predictions for 2020 guys, so let's get started. So the first match of this game, we see the Panthers going up against the Eels. Now, I like how the way Panthers are a very good team, which I saw in the NRL 9s, like in Perth, how the way Viliami Kikau is an absolute great player. I think he's like number 11 or number 12 or, yeah, either number 11 or number 12. But what I like for this team, Panthers are a very interesting team, but they don't really concede a lot of plays, which I don't think that this team can contribute very well. But Nathan Cleary, Brent Naden, Viliami Kikau, what I just mentioned, and like, let's say, Apsai Coruscant and like so many others. I just think how the way it's going to go for this club, they are a very interesting team. I just think that I don't really see that this team can be a very interesting club, but I don't really think that if this game's going to be an interesting game, I reckon that they are going to have an interesting game, but not for my Parramatta Eels. Parramatta Eels are probably a very interesting team, which I like, and my Parramatta Eels are a very best club that I like. But really, what I can say about this match is I like how the way that so many players like Maiko Sivo, Clint Gutherson, Mongo Blake, they was brought in from the Penrith Panthers. Blake Ferguson, which he was brought from Raiders, Roosters, and now here. Like, say, Jamin Salmon, but now it's Dylan Brown. Dylan Brown is an absolute great player, which I can really see that he's going to be a very interesting player that I like. So on, and I just think this one's going to be an interesting game. But I'm going to go with the Parramatta Eels on this one, and I'm going to go with 20 points to 12 anyway, and I just think this scoreline will help this Eels play a very interesting game up against the Penrith Panthers anyway. The next game of this round, we see the Bulldogs going up against the Raiders. Now, this club for the Raiders, they are a very well-balanced team, and they are a very hard team to actually beat. But I like how the way Chance Nickel-Klokstad is a very great player, but I don't think he has been playing for the trials, which I don't really can see Raiders doing a very interesting season. But what I can say about this team, I like how the way that Jordan Rapano is a very interesting player that I like, and he is a Kiwi international. But really what I can say about this team for the Raiders, they have conceded so many points, and they are a very hard team to beat, which, like the Eels, say for instance, beating the Raiders up at Darwin anyway. But the Bulldogs, my second best team, which I like to see concede very well. But like Lachlan Lewis, he is a development player, which he is brought from the Canterbury Cup side, and I just think how the way he's going to go, I reckon he's going to play a very interesting game. And the Bulldogs are a very hard team to beat also too, and I just think how the way that this team is going to go, I like how the way they've brought out a very good brand of the Bulldogs anyway. They are a very hard team to beat, but I could say that. But anyway, I'm going to go with the Bulldogs on this game, and I'm going to say that I'm going to go with 20 points to 18 on this game, and I just think Bulldogs will have a hard game, but they're just going to beat the Raiders only by 2 points, and I just can see that the Raiders are going to have a very interesting game, but they're going to fight back, and they're going to fire up against the Bulldogs anyway, and I just think 20 points to 18 will concede the Bulldogs for a win up against the Raiders anyway. The next game of this round, we see the Storm going up against the Cowboys. Now, this game, what I can say about this game, Cowboys are a very, I'd say, risky, average, but a developing team that doesn't really concede much of wins, losses, but let's say wins. Excuse me. But really what I can say about this game, number one, Valentine Holmes is going to come into that Cowboy squad, and I just think how the way it's going to go for this team, I reckon Valentine Holmes is going to have an interesting season for the Cowboys, and I just think how the way that this club is going to go for Scott Drinkwater. I think he's going to play for the 5'8", for number 6. But also too, I think Michael Morgan's going to come in for that number 7 squad, which he's going to be that halfback side. But I consider Valentine Holmes be a better fullback, and he is just going to have an interesting, very good season, and then a very good off season. So going up against Melbourne Storm, which number 1, Ryan Pappenhausen, he is an absolute fastest electric machine, absolute interesting player, which I like. Shandell Earl is an interesting player, but I don't think he's going to play up against the Cowboys, which Josh Adokar is going to come into that squad, and I reckon that he's going to have a better game. But then Valentine Holmes up against Josh Adokar, I don't know how that's going to go, but then I just think it's going to be a hard game to watch. So really what I can say about this game, I'm going to go with the Melbourne Storm on this one, and I just think how the way it's going to go, Melbourne Storm are going to have a very good off-season, a very good game, so I'm going to go with them. And I'm going to go with 32 points to 12, and this one's going to be a big one for me, and I just think how the way it's going to go, I just think it's going to be a very interesting game for this one anyway. The next game of this round, we see the Rabbitohs going up against the Dragons. Now, this game is just going to be a very tight one, but not an average big one. But I consider this game being a very interesting season for the Dragons. And this game is just going to put a lot of pressure on them. But only because this game's going to be an absolute great game, I can reconsider being a very average season, but a very average game for them. But then let's have a look at the Rabbitohs. They've got Corey Allen, which he is terrible, but he's a great player. They've got Adam Reynolds, which he is a very experienced player, and I like how the way he moves with the ball and kicks it for an actual goal. You got Damien Cook, he is an absolute speedster. Like Alex Johnston, he is an absolute speedster too. He's an absolute great player, which I consider him playing for the Rabbitohs. I just think he's not going to swap for any other club. I reckon he's going to stay there, and he's just going to have a great season for the Rabbitohs anyway. But Latrell Mitchell, let's just say this. Latrell Mitchell is going to have a better game, but I reckon that Rabbitohs really need to step up if they're going to have Latrell Mitchell in there. I really consider if they have Latrell Mitchell, I reckon they're going to win this game for sure. But then if Matt Duffy comes into that number 1 squad, I don't know how that's going to work out. So Latrell Mitchell up against Matt Duffy, but then unless Zach Lomax takes that number 1 squad, and I just think could say Matt Duffy into that number 14 or number 15 squad, like number 15 jersey, I mean. But I reckon that I'm going to go with the Rabbitohs on this one, and I'm going to say I am going to go with 24 points to 12 on this game, and I just think Rabbitohs can see that they're going to win up against the Dragons anyway. The next game of this round, we see the Roosters going up against the Newcastle Knights. This game, Matt Ikavalu is going to be into that game. Kalen Ponga is going to be into that game too. Let's just say a couple of other players which are very interesting and very experienced players that I can say that they are going to be into that squad. I'm going to be probably at the Roosters and Knights game tomorrow. I'm going to vlog that, so do watch that video. That's going to be vlogging out for you guys very soon. And I'm going to upload that very soon, and I'm going to say that I'm going to upload that very soon. So then I'm going to say that this game is going to be an absolute great game, and I'm going to say that if this game's going to be an absolute great game, I'm going to say Roosters consider that. I'm going to definitely consider Roosters for this game, and I reckon then this game's going to have like a better off season, and I reckon that if this game can be a good game, I reckon that I'd say Roosters are going to have an absolute great game. But really, for the Roosters, I'm just going to say that if the Roosters can put a job done up against the Newcastle Knights, I'm going to say Kalen Ponga might consider scoring some tries. But really, for this fact, I'm going to say Newcastle Knights are just going to put the job done up against, up against the Knights. And really what I can say about this game, I'm going to say that if this game could be an absolute great game, I'm going to go for the Roosters, and I'm going to say that I'm going to go with 32 points to 12, and I'm going to say that if this game's going to be an absolute great game, I'm going to be going for the Roosters anyway. The next game of this round, we see the Broncos going up against the Titans. Now, this game, Broncos are a very interesting team, which I consider. Broncos are kind of like a average team, and what I consider for this club, I really think that Jordan Kahu is going to have a very good season. But better or not, Jordan Kahu, he's going to have a very good season. I think playing for the wing, I'd say, but I don't think he'll play for this game, because since it is the trials. And what I can say about this game, I like how the way this game really contributes on the Broncos, and really what I can say about this club, I like how the way that Broncos are a very interesting team. And really what I can say about this club, for the Titans though, actually, what I really consider is this team can be a very interesting club. And really for this team, Titans are just not playing that good and not playing very well, which I really consider not going for the Titans, because last year the Titans didn't really do very well, and I just don't like how the way Titans can put on a lot of terrible plays, and they just don't win any games. So really what I can say about this match, I'm going to go with the Broncos, and I'm going to say that Broncos are going to have a great season, and I'm going to go with them. So my prediction for the scoreline, I'm going to say I'm going to go with 28 points to 14, and I just think how the way it's going to go, Broncos are just going to have a great game, and they're going to just beaten the Titans on this one, and I'm just going to say that the Broncos will win up against the Titans anyway. The next game of this round, we see the Warriors going up against the West Tigers. Now this game of that, Warriors are a very interesting club, but they have been winning, losing in that pattern. But then, Warriors, let's say, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, he is a very interesting player. He's a sidestepper, and he is a great player, and I really consider him a Daily M medal or something like that. But for Cody Nikorima also too, which he is a development player, which he has come to that squad from the Broncos, I reckon that he's going to do a very good season. And really what I can say about this game, the Warriors are just... could say they can have a better season for this year. And then for this game, I just don't think that they probably would reconsider Warriors playing very much a great game. But West Tigers though, they probably would have a great game, but I just don't think that West Tigers will win this game up against the Warriors. Warriors can put up a lot of fight, and they are a very strong, powerful, interesting club. So I'm going to go with the Warriors on this one, and I'm going to say Warriors will definitely put on a lot of fight, and they'll put on, they'll fire up against the West Tigers, and I'm going to say that I'm going to predict for this one that I'm going to go, okay, I'd say 18-10, and I reckon this low scoring match will definitely put on a lot of fight, and I just think West Tigers will just harden up, but the Warriors will just win another try, and then I'll put on a lot of fight. But I'm going to say 18 points to 10 will definitely win up against the West Tigers anyway. And finally, the next game of this round, we see the Sharks going up against the Manly Sea Eagles. Now, this game, okay, so when the Sharks played NRL 9s, they didn't really play a very hard match. So, to be honest though, what I can reconsider about this game, I just don't think that Sharks are gonna put on a lot of fight. And really what I can say about this match, I just don't think that the Sharks will have a great season, but they'll probably would. So they win a couple of games, and then I reckon they'll put on a lot of fight, but then they'll probably lose sometimes, let's say some other matches. But going up against the Manly Sea Eagles, they've got Ben Trbojevic, which he has come into that squad, just come into that squad actually, and he is a development player, and he has played for the Canterbury Cup. So I just don't think that this game's gonna have that attention, but excuse me, but have a lot of fight. But I don't really say the Manly Sea Eagles will win. I just think the Sharks will win on this one, and I think that this game will put on a lot of fight for the Sharks, and I reckon that this game will improve very well, and I reckon that this game's going to have that energy for the Sharks, and I'm going to say for this one, for the scoreline, I'm going to go with 30 points to 18 on this one, and I'm just thinking that Manly Sea Eagles won't do well up against the Sharks anyway, and I just think Sharks will definitely improve for this game, that they'll win a great game, and they'll have a lot of energy going up against the Manly Sea Eagles anyway. Thanks guys for watching my video, guys. Stay tuned for more. I will be doing a couple of videos coming to you guys soon. Also, I'll be doing more videos coming to you guys soon, so stay tuned for more. Plus, leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and for this video, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Until then, take care guys, stay safe, and have a good one.